Guess who's back?
Back again.
Penny's back. Tell
Hello,
a friend.
friend.
What's up?
Yo.
It is Colton and Tavares. We are here again after 4 months without an episode. To the day
Yes.
as of recording. No,
I
when
know
this will be out.
I know the three of you listening right now missed this.
Hey, we got 4 retweets on that tweet, so I know it's 4 of us out there.
Wait, I think I might have retweeted it.
Oh, and so did I. But but it was 2 other people, and that makes 4.
Hey, okay. We're people too.
Exactly.
Even if we make the show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
You
we
know.
still fuck with it.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better podcast than this is.
Yeah. Well,
Certainly not one that's more consistent. I mean, we took a 3-month break, then we took a 2-month break, then we took a 4-month break. I can't think of anyone that's
next
done
month
it.
we'll be gone for 5 months.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. No,
No,
for real
just
though,
playing,
we're gonna be back a lot more because this end of the summer, I think we'll have a lot more time to get together and record some more. So I'm excited.
Definitely.
What you been up to?
Yeah, man, just working, honestly.
Yeah, me
Working.
too.
I was out in North Carolina for 3 months.
Yeah, that's been part of why we haven't been putting out podcasts.
The other reason was
we
the,
tried
the
we
global
tried.
pandemic that's
That's
occurring
a
at
big
the moment.
one. That's a big one.
That kind of shook up the.
And we
April.
did try to record remotely.
We did.
We recorded a whole episode.
Damn,
remotely,
we did. Yeah.
But we couldn't put it out because the audio got all jumbled and the shit got all fucked up. So we're here now.
Yeah.
A couple months later. I think that was April, and I don't even recall what it was about.
it was May. It was May because I was definitely in North Carolina. But what was it about?
Did we try to do... No, that wouldn't make sense. I was going to say a movie review, but I don't think we would have just did a movie review. I don't even remember what we talked about.
Oh, the playlist.
That was a great fucking
That
episode.
was a great episode.
And I've forgotten about the conversation. We could absolutely talk about that again.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we can go ahead and put that back up on the board.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that in a future episode. So you won't have missed anything. We'll do it again. Because our memories are shit. We don't even remember what we talked about. So, I've been working too. I've been reading a lot more than
That's
I ever
cool.
have in
That's
my
cool.
life.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That's really good.
it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's been mostly motivated by shit that's happening
Yeah, right.
in our society.
And that's usually the best way to go about it.
Read some Angela Davis, some Huey Newton,
Ooh, yeah.
some Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, the GOAT.
That man's so good.
God, I love
Between
that.
the World and Me is just the perfect book. And when I started looking into it more, after I read it, I realized it's already made its way through everybody. Like everybody who is anybody has fucking read this book.
Yeah. Well, except
I mean, anybody who cares.
Anybody who cares. That's the best way.
Anybody you would expect to care.
I was
book.
in a meeting. I was in a meeting with the president of my college in like a month ago or so, and she was meeting with us to talk about like black student problems or whatever. And like I asked her if she'd read the book, and she goes, "No, it's like literally a part of our curriculum." And I was like, "You haven't read it."
And you were like.
And then she goes and like she's like, oh, like we made this mistake, and it's the problem that she describes herself and the administration having was a problem that Coates pretty concisely
explicitly
just addresses. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that sucks.
I listened to a podcast with him the other day. It was a guy named
Ezra
Klein.
Ezra
Yeah,
Klein.
did you listen to that too?
Yeah, I've heard that.
That was a good one.
Ezra Klein is a really smart guy. I think he's like he's a poli-sci guy, if I remember correctly. Which is weird because poli-sci and Ta-Nehisi Coates wouldn't logically go together.
And that's what I was thinking throughout the entire interview.
Mm-hmm.
Is like throughout the entire interview, like Ta-Nehisi was saying everything I would expect Ta-Nehisi to say, but everything Ezra Klein was like asking, the way he phrased questions, and the way he was talking about it, I was like, he has a real and I respected it and everything.
Yeah.
Like, he was really good at talking about what he was talking about, and I was like, these don't feel like they should meld together as well as they do on this podcast.
Yeah.
But they were really good together. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, they definitely they know what they're doing. But I've gotten into a lot more podcasts this summer too.
I actually had a question for the intro based off a podcast I listened to yesterday. I was listening to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, the first podcast I ever discovered, by the way. It's Ross Bolin and Barrett Dudley. And it started as a Game of Thrones companion podcast, but now they do all kinds of TV and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And the question that Barrett asked Ross was, what television or movie character sparked your sexual awakening? What made you realize that you were like, oh shit, I'm a guy? You know?
Damn. That's a deep one.
If you want, I can answer first.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need to think about it.
So I as soon as the question was posed on this podcast, I was taken to a memory, and it was to watching X-Men: The Last Stand on a laptop, and it was the chick who played Jean Grey.
See, what's so funny about that is that mine is really close, but not the same. I was thinking
Storm.
Halle Berry from X-Men.
See, as I got older, I think Halle Berry in that movie is 10 times more attractive than anybody on Earth.
Yo,
Halle Berry is unbelievable.
Oh,
but
man.
I mean, I remember I must have been 7 watching X-Men: The Last Stand, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty girl. I think I like that pretty girl.
I think I like that pretty girl. Damn. That's a formative question there. Like, that's like a big part of,
I mean, because like that
life.
is something. Like
Yeah.
that's
and
now I'm looking back at the scene, and it's also with Hugh Jackman. So who knows? Maybe I was just more turned on by Hugh Jackman.
Maybe. Halle Berry definitely has a spot in my memory from early
Halle Berry is
childhood being like that one.
That's the one right there. Man, yeah. I remember when I was little, Jamie Lynn Spears and Zoe 101. I was a big fan of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. I mean, Jamie Lynn Spears was more like, I love that woman, I'm going to marry her.
I love that woman, I'm going to marry her. Sam from iCarly.
That was a big one. I liked Sam Puckett a lot when I was about 10.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like she would protect me. I feel like she would load a pillowcase up with some batteries and beat the shit out of some guy.
Wasn't she dating some NBA player?
Yeah, Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond, that's who it was.
Dude, have you seen the picture of them walking together side by side?
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. He's like literally 3 of her.
He really is.
That's unbelievable. Victoria Justice was a big one when I was little.
Okay.
Victorious, but before that, when she was also in Zoe 101, I liked Zoe 101 a lot.
What is Victoria Justice? Was that her real name?
Victoria Justice, yeah.
What's her life like now?
I'm not sure. Pretty sure she's doing shit. She's making films.
She's doing shit. Yeah, I hope so.
She's working her craft.
Working her craft, yeah.
Mercy on my soul, don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on many men. Many men. Man, this shit's so hard. It's unbelievable. We've got a good episode ahead of us. We've ran this intro a little long, but we're going to talk about the Emmy nominations, newly announced. We are going to do a new segment called 2 Protecc, 7 Attacc, and we'll explain that more when we get there. And then we're going to close it out with Comic Club. Me and Tavares decided we're going to start reading comic books and talking about them on the podcast. And this time we've got the first 3 issues of Black Panther, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good episode.
Me too. Let's keep rocking and rolling.
Let's fucking roll this shit.
You have now entered the Penny Bloom Podcast, hosted by none other than Colton Robinson and Tavares Pennington. I hope you are prepared for a show unlike any that you've ever seen before. Or heard, I guess it's a podcast. So you aren't going to see anything.
This week, we had Emmy nominations announced. And there's a lot of stuff that we have discussed on here before, namely Euphoria. Euphoria was a big one.
Namely, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk more about it. But we're going to talk about our actors and actresses who got their Emmy noms this award season. And first up, I wanted to talk about Regina King in Watchmen. Phenomenal series.
Mm-hmm.
But her performance was incredible. And I'm so glad that she's finally getting the leading lady roles for everything.
Yeah.
Like if Beale Street could talk, she was a big role in that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize that Regina King would be the type to kind of do like a superhero.
Well, and that's what's
sort of
interesting
thing.
about Watchmen is that it's kind of superhero, but like it's more masked vigilante. Like that's more the area you got to be thinking when it comes to Watchmen than it is the actual superpowered superheroes, you know.
Okay.
Except for like Dr. Manhattan.
Well, then what are they? Are they like stopping crimes on the streets and shit? Like, is that like kind of like still
The premise of Watchmen, the limited series, is that it's set in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the police department was ambushed by a group called the 7th Cavalry, a white supremacist group. 3 years before the original story is set.
Yeah.
And because of this, they decided they wanted to put the police in masks. So that you couldn't see who the police were, you didn't know who they were, you couldn't track them down.
Okay.
And and then if you're a detective, you get the privilege of dressing however you want.
Yeah.
So she's called Sister Knight, Regina King is. And her costume is fucking kick ass.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone in it is just humans playing dress up, and I kind of fuck with it because it means like everyone in the show is kind of a nerd.
Yeah. Right.
And I dig that.
Yeah. That's kind of tight. That's an interesting concept. I never like. Does this like
The comic.
No, just like that like smiley face with the red line through it.
Like, yeah, and I've listened to Damon Lindelof talk about this actually on the official Watchmen podcast, where he said that they wanted to blend motifs from the original Watchmen into it, like the smiley face, the blood drip, and everything, but they didn't want to abuse them so that it didn't seem like they were leaning on it. So they created their own motifs, and if you watch it, I don't know, there's a few motifs that are really prevalent that you don't even realize are prevalent until like later. And then if you go back and watch it, it's like, holy shit, the very first thing they show you was this.
Oh shit.
And it's incredible.
Okay.
It's a really well written series, and Damon Lindelof is known for those mysteries that he ends up. And I mean, Lost, people will tell you that he didn't answer any of their questions. The Leftovers, he did better, and then in Watchmen, I have all my questions answered.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of questions, and a lot of questions that I didn't even think to ask were answered. You know.
And it's HBO made, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. HBO always kind of they always do their thing.
They really do. Another Watchmen actor who got a few of them got nominated. Jeremy Irons for his role as Ozymandias, one of the originals from the comic, and his role is incredible. He plays this kind of crazy old guy, and he's a phenomenal actor. So he played it incredibly well. Yahya Abdul Mateen plays Regina King's husband, and the father of her children. And he's got a great character too, and he did incredible as the role. And then there was a few others who got nominated. I can't seem to think of them off the top of my head, but all the performances were incredible in Watchmen.
It seems like they basically swept the
it led Emmy nominations with 26. I mean it. I don't know that there's a better season of television that I've watched lately. Like, the only one that I can think of is Westworld Season 1. I fucking love that season of television. It's so perfectly made.
No, that's a really good
and that's
season
I mean that's a different world of complicated, but Watchmen is like second to that for me.
Really?
Yeah. The way he intertwines storylines and answers questions you don't even see coming.
Yeah, okay. I definitely need to watch Watchmen. I'm probably going to get into that. I just finished, like, anime binging, so I think I'm going to move into some real-life stuff again. It's been weird.
Yeah. What about your actors and actresses? You got any up there you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, well, we just got the, you want to go ahead and talk about Euphoria?
We can talk about Euphoria.
Yeah.
You got Zendaya.
Zendaya, like,
I'm so proud.
To be picked.
I'm so
like,
proud.
She had to be picked.
She had to. She had to. That show was just so damn good, and she killed her performance.
And she drives like a lot of just like the emotional aspects of the storyline. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, obviously Jules is there, but it's like almost like everything that happens to Jules you only care about because it also happens to Zendaya's character.
Well, what's interesting, the way that I watch Euphoria is it's all through the lens of Rue, basically.
It is, exactly.
So when anytime Nate's doing something, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of how it'll affect Rue.
Right.
Anytime Fezco's doing something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about how it will affect Rue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
which is my man Fezco good?
Is my man
Is he
Fezco good?
I just totally, like, when I rewatched it, I had totally forgotten about that entire, like,
I will never forget about it.
aspect of it.
Not
and I was
until
just like,
season 2.
I was like, wait a second, they just ended it there. They just ended the fucking show there.
I have
like,
a theory. I have a theory regarding them ending the show there too. I think they didn't know exactly how people were going to respond to Fez's character. They knew he was a lovable guy, but the guy's also never been an actor, Angus Cloud.
Yeah.
So I think they left it open so that if they got feedback saying we need Fezco back, they could be like, all right, then you'll get him back.
Yeah.
But if
they had, oh man, Fezco was such a good character already. It's still,
he was the most likable character from day one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like he, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, this guy, he's gonna be like that commonplace, like he's gonna be like the normal guy amidst all of the madness that occurs.
Absolutely.
And
he's
for the most part,
easily
he is.
the most laid back. He's easily the most empathetic.
Yeah.
That man was worried about Rue. And he's her drug dealer.
Yeah, he's a drug dealer. Yeah. That was, man, that scene too in Euphoria where she does the fentanyl.
Oh, dude.
That was,
I've never been like more on the edge of my seat for something
swear
that
to
wasn't
God.
like an action something.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Like
I was like,
oh my fucking God.
oh, dude, it was so fucking
Yeah,
good.
Euphoria
And
was
then
just,
that scene where she bangs on Fezco's door. That's the scene that locked it.
oh yeah.
Most outstanding actress in a drama series.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she absolutely killed that scene. All the scenes at rehab and stuff, like it was
Incredible.
just like, especially after rewatching it, it made me realize that Euphoria, like, for as much as people say that it's like melodramatic kind of like faux teenage bullshit, like it's just like this made up shit. One, you have to take into account the dramatization that obviously goes into making a show.
You want to watch something that's dramatic,
Right.
entertaining.
Right.
You don't want to watch something that's like what you live.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point in that?
They have to take leaps, but at the same time, it's still like, I think of it almost as like a character-driven comic almost, like that this show could have been written based off of, but like all of those aren't concerned with necessarily what reality is. They're concerned with who the characters are.
And that's actually an incredible way to put it, is like a character-driven comic book, because it really is this otherworldly, fantastical.
Yeah.
Like
what's it? Riverdale.
Riverdale. I enjoy this world more than I enjoy Riverdale, though. But Riverdale, its first season has its moments.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. And I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, Euphoria season 1's in a different plane of existence for me.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. The visuals, the soundtrack. I mean, Labyrinth fucking destroyed it. We're pushing our 15-minute limit here. Let's go to Westworld.
Westworld.
We got some Westworld noms. Thandie Newton for supporting actress as Maeve. I think Maeve and Maeve. I think Maeve made the season. Season 3.
Maeve did make the season. I was
Her and
always
Aaron Paul.
interested in where she was. I was just like, oh, they're focusing a lot on Dolores. What about Maeve?
Yeah, because the entire time Maeve's stuff was more. I mean, obviously Dolores' stuff was shrouded in mystery for sure. I mean, obviously by the end of it, you didn't even see that shit coming.
Oh,
but Maeve, you just didn't even. You kind of had an idea, so you had more of a drive to see what she was doing.
Yeah, right. Like you understood like kind of where she started and her whole journey a lot more.
Yeah.
And so it just made you like want to know more, but especially too when like she met the guy, the guy who made Rehoboam or whatever.
Sirach.
I kept thinking Dario Saric.
I did too. That was the only name coming to mind, and I was like, "That's not his name. That's a basketball player." But there's that character. One of my favorite characters in the season 2, besides Maeve, because Maeve was probably my favorite character this season, was Bernard.
Oh yeah.
And Bernard got the nom. Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
He got the nom for supporting actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really happy with that, too. I fucking love
I just
Jeffrey
hated
Wright.
how supporting his plot line was this season. It was kind of, there were just parts of it that felt unnecessary to me, and I was like...
Yeah, and one thing I did like, though, was his relationship with the robot security guard for the park. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big white guy.
Yeah, big-ass white guy, Chris Hemsworth brother.
Is that actually his brother?
Yeah. He was in Thor Ragnarok. He plays the theatrical version of Thor. Do you remember that scene where?
Oh shit! Yeah,
he's playing Thor in that play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shit, I can't remember his character's name in Westworld right now. But their relationship, I like it, and especially since I'm going back and rewatching season 1 up at Trenton's house with him and Keaton. It's funny. One of the first things that character says is to Bernard.
Yeah.
So seeing them coming off of season 3 immediately together was so interesting to me. I was like, man, like,
and you
were
don't really
they
see that
thinking this far
Yeah,
ahead?
you don't see that relationship coming normally. Like, you're just kind of
not at all. Like,
but they probably had to, because they had to know at that point that
they had to
that
know
they
what
were
was
both
going on
robots.
outside the world.
Well, yeah, but then the writers also had to know that those two people would be the two key people to be human.
That's true.
Who actually weren't human.
That's true.
So they're gonna relate over that, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to Westworld season 4 for sure. And then we talked about I talked about Watchmen quite a bit earlier. I won't talk about how it got nominated for Best Limited Series, even though it was fucking phenomenal. Definitely watch that shit. And it's interesting. I didn't mention this earlier. You don't actually have to have read the comic to appreciate the season of television. They give you a loose enough history of what's been going on that you can understand fully what's going on now.
Okay.
And kind of the same thing with what the original Watchmen comic did. It gives you a history of what happened before it, and you get enough understanding, and you're good now.
Okay.
And it's so good. But most outstanding drama series, The Mandalorian got it.
Mandalorian.
And I was extremely happy with that, being a absurd Star Wars fan. I didn't see it coming, and I don't know why. I thought it was an outstanding drama series. I just didn't expect Emmys. I just didn't expect it to get Emmy nods, and I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't expect. I guess because Disney. I just don't associate
it's
Disney.
It's Star Wars. We think of these things as like
movie. I think movies. Like it's just not Emmy. Like it's just because I hadn't even considered it. It wasn't.
No, but they made it seems like they made a really good TV show, and
dude, it's fucking great. And then they put out the making of the Mandalorian documentary, and it's a docuseries, and it makes you appreciate it. Just the things they're doing in terms of enhancing technology for film is outstanding. Like they are definitely creating the next evolution of what our movies and TV are going to be. I think.
Okay.
And that's one too that I don't think you need to like Star Wars to like The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so either. Like
it feels like Star Wars for sure, but the storyline is kind of a classic one. It's protecting a youngling.
Yeah.
It's kind of that the father-son relationship that's kind of like the hard brooding guy is softened by Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert, but there's no way you haven't fucking heard of Baby Yoda.
No way at all.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
Yeah. And so last notable nomination from us, I guess, has to be Hugh Jackman in Bad Education. Just, P.S. If you haven't seen Bad Education, just want a random movie to watch that you'll probably not think about much again, but really enjoy the fact that you watched it. Bad Education. That's the one you want to go with.
And I mean, it's Hugh Jackman. I talked about him in the intro. He's kind of fucking hot.
That's yeah.
He's a good-looking man.
He's objectively,
and he's in his 50s, and he's in incredible shape.
Oh yeah,
man's just jacked.
He's Wolverine.
He's Wolverine.
He
is Wolverine. And I know the MCU is going to bring in another fucking Wolverine because they have to. But I mean,
has vibranium claws that come out of his
adamantium claws.
Adamantium?
Actually.
Oh shit! Damn.
Come on, Tavares. Jesus. I'm just kidding. They are adamantium though.
Yeah, no, I know. I thought vibranium was wrong, but I was like, it's a metal.
Vibranium's the Wakandan metal.
Yeah.
And then Captain America's shield. To geek out. For a second.
That's what it was. I was like, I know some other white
someone
guy.
Else.
Yeah,
some
I know
other
some
white guy
has some vibranium.
More on that later. with the Black Panther comic segment. But I think that wraps up the Emmy Nod segment. Are you ready for the next one?
I believe so.
Moving on to 2 Protecc, 7 Attacc. So, in 2 Protecc, 7 Attacc, we are given 9 options.
Just 9.
Just 9. And the way this works is you get 2 of these options to protect you from the other 7 that are attacking. It's inspired by a Twitter trend in which it was animals, but here we are going to do television and movie characters, and one surprise. So our options, we got 1 Rick Sanchez, because Rick Sanchez is fucking unstoppable.
It's Rick Sanchez.
You only get one Rick
is already
Sanchez.
100.
Yeah, you're cheating with 1 Rick Sanchez. Dolores Abernathy from Westworld. We gave her 3 of them. 3 Dolores Abernathys. She's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
We got 5 John Wicks. We have 10 Jon Snows. We have 10 pairs of Huey and Riley Freeman from the Boondocks. We have 15 Cliff Booths from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's Brad Pitt's character.
Yes. Absolute savage.
We have 20 pairs of Mario and Luigi. That makes 40 Mario and Luigis.
Yeah.
We've got 100 Tory Lanez.
100.
And then 150 Patrick Stars. So, first thoughts. Who you thinking is going to be the hardest to beat on this list? Besides the 1 Rick Sanchez.
Okay, I was going to say.
Because it's practically, Rick Sanchez is automatically one of the protectors. He has to be.
Automatically, yeah. You can't not want Rick on your team. For as much bullshit as he'll give you, you still want the man.
He
but
gets the job fucking done.
Honestly, 40 Mario and Luigi's is kind of... Those motherfuckers are annoying.
That's off-putting.
They just are fucking annoying.
Well, we need to specify. Is it just normal? Is it just little Mario and Luigi? Have they eaten a mushroom? Have they eaten one of those fire flowers?
That's fair. They've got to be off the mushrooms.
Okay, so they're a little bigger than they usually are.
Yeah, right.
Okay. That's fair. Fair.
They took some power pills before.
That'd be
they
horrifying.
started. Man,
to see 40 big-sized Mario
and it's just
Luigi's.
so many of them, and they're they got so much energy. Like they're so loud. Like they're just like the definition of
it's me, Mario,
on your ass. Like they're just on your ass.
You know?
Yeah, and then they talking shit like in their high ass voice.
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, have you seen
Fuck
you? You've seen the video game house from RDC World?
I don't
know.
Yes.
Where,
that's outstanding.
That provides a little perspective. If you've seen like the video series Video Game House made by RDC World on YouTube, they give a really good portrayal of what Mario and Luigi as actual people would look like, big people. What they would sound like, what they would do, and let me just tell you, I would not fuck with them.
Never. I would never fuck with Mario and Luigi. I mean, they're wrenches because they're like plumbers.
Yeah,
they just beat the shit out of you with wrenches.
Yeah, and they don't give a fuck. They're wearing gloves too, so like no fingerprints.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dodgeball. It's a good movie.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
It's a fucking good one. All right, my the one that I think would be the hardest to defeat is almost certainly 150 Patrick Stars.
Well, I don't know. If I take John Wick. I take John Wick over 150.
5 John Wicks is fucking difficult, man. You know, like.
No, but I'm saying I would take 5 John Wicks to beat 150 Patrick Stars.
Oh, you think? Oh, you know what? You're definitely right about that.
Like he would just dispatch them.
If you watch John Wick's movies, he actually faces opponents and kills 150 of them anyway by himself. So he'd definitely take out 150 Patrick Stars.
Okay.
Especially if there was 5 of them. Scratch that. Patrick Star's getting fucked just by John Wick.
See, Tory,
but they can't be on the same team.
Yeah.
You know, like, because that implies that you're definitely picking John Wick.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying. I got to go cross match them and everything. See who's gonna.
And honestly, Jon Snow versus 150 Patrick Stars. That's just like the Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Lidl. Jon Snow.
Tory, what about Tory Lanez versus Patrick Star?
That is the most exciting matchup of the entire board.
100 Tory Lanez, 150 Patrick Stars.
And it's just going to be so
lined
funny.
up from one another.
It's funny because Patrick Star is just going to be towering over.
Yeah. Honestly, well, Tory Lanez, he keep that thing on him. He got it on him. So
He do indeed.
Yeah. But how far does he get shooting Patrick Star in the foot?
This is a valid.
Okay.
Prayers for Meg.
Oh man.
For real. Huey and Riley. 20 Huey and Rileys is not easy.
20 Huey and Rileys versus 40 Mario and Luigi's. That's the
dream matchup.
That is a matchup.
I need to see a bunch of 2-on-2s here, okay? I need Huey and Riley versus Mario and Luigi. I need Tory Lanez versus Patrick Star. And you know what? I'd be interested in seeing 15 Cliff Booths go up against Jon Snow.
Yo, that would be a really good matchup.
I really think it would. Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth beat the shit out of Bruce Lee.
Yo. And then against Jon Snow, I don't know. Like, I feel like
Jon Snow's a talented swordsman.
Cliff Booth is the underdog here, but like you got to think, if Jon Snow is a talented swordsman and Cliff Booth is a fucking badass who doesn't even really use weapons, if he gets that sword out of Jon Snow's hand, it's over.
But there's 10 Jon Snows to deal with. It ain't just one Jon Snow.
But there's 15 Cliff Booths.
Yeah, but that sword really gives Jon Snow an advantage.
But you got to think, think about what happened in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, that man was already fucked up. Like, what did he do to, like,
Bruce Lee kicked him in the chest.
No. At the end with the he had
dude.
got hurt or something, didn't he? Like
no, he was tripping.
No. But like they had like hit him or something. Like he had gotten like stabbed or
that's
something.
Right. Yeah,
right?
he got stabbed by a bottle.
Yeah, he got stabbed. That's what it was.
Or sliced something.
You got to think. What stops Cliff Booth from just manhandling the blade and just being like, fuck my hands. I don't really care that much. I don't think he'd care. I don't think he'd care.
But I also think, given Jon Snow's talent and strength with his broadsword, Longclaw, he'd slice right through his hands.
He does have a broadsword. Who's faster? Jon Snow's definitely faster.
Is he though?
I feel like he's got to be. He's agile. He's an agile guy.
Well, he's an agile guy, but when it comes to a fight, I think a sword might slow you down compared to a guy who's a talented fighter without a sword.
That's fair. What stops him from just bum rushing him?
Cliff Booth?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, I mean, the sword. The sword stops him. That's what.
Fair enough. Okay, you ready to lock in some decisions here?
I am ready.
We got enough weighing.
Shit, I don't know though. I know one of them's Rick.
Yeah,
one of them is Rick Sanchez. He takes any one of these and just sends them to an alternate universe. See, the problem is I feel like I almost have to take one of the Tory Lanez or Patrick Stars. But
I don't know.
No, you know what? Those are. I'm not taking Cliff Booth.
Fair enough.
I don't need Cliff Booth when I've got 250 Patrick Stars and Tory Lanez coming at him. Okay, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, Cliff Booth would get overpowered for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if he gets shot
40
in the foot.
Mario and Luigi's is climbing surprisingly high on my list.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I considered Mario and Luigi and Hugh and Riley.
That's a good combo, right? You got 60 of them, but like it's that one Rick Sanchez.
It's you got to think though. It's 2 Protecc, 7 Attacc. All 7 of
All
the
of them are
other options
attacking.
are attacking.
That's what's difficult about it. So like I know I have Rick Sanchez.
Because you just don't want Rick Sanchez attacking you.
Exactly. That's the only reason.
You know, honestly,
I'm tempted John Wick.
I'm tempted John Wick. I was literally about to say Rick
I'm
and
thinking
John Wick.
1 Rick and 5 John
John
Wicks. That's 6 people.
You send 2. You send 2 John Wicks to dispatch Tories and Patrick's.
That's
and
that.
then you got 3 other John Wicks left, right, to handle.
Mario and Luigi. They're he's taking Mario and Luigi easy, okay?
He's taking Mario and Luigi. He gets the Hugh and
God,
Riley
but those
next.
numbers
They're
aren't
a little more.
those numbers really aren't in his favor.
They
the 3
aren't.
Dolores worries
I
me
was
with
gonna
John
say
Wick.
the 3 Dolores is
Which
gonna,
is interesting because all those other numbers are like overpowering, but I
Yeah.
feel like what would finish him is the 3 Doloreses.
Yeah, but then you gotta think.
But you got Rick.
3 Doloreses teamed up with 10 Jon Snows. He's basically Aaron Paul to her.
That's true.
Except Aaron Paul with a lot more physical ability.
That's true.
And like those motherfuckers did work.
Okay. This is harder than I thought
This
it would
is
be.
very hard.
This is so much harder than I thought it would be. And what's funny is it's like the numbers are fucking me up, but like those are the numbers you had to go with. You can't make it less than that. And what's funny is the ones I'm least concerned about are the ones that are 250 of them.
I know, yeah, no, definitely. Which means that we did the scaling well, I guess.
I think
The
so.
power
I think we
scaling.
did. I'm not taking Huey and Riley.
I can't. I'm thinking I'll have to sacrifice Rick.
There is just one of him. Like, you got to think something will get to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm honestly thinking.
Who you thinking?
You give me 5 John Wicks, 100 Tory Lanez.
You're probably going to do some work there.
He's getting the choppers gonna sing.
They are. Come around this way, you will get clapped, okay?
I swear to God. And you're creating that distance. So Mario and Luigi, they got to run up on you. Cliff Booth, he's got to run up on you. Huey and Riley, they might have guns too, but it's only 10 of them. Jon Snow, he got to run up on you. Dolores, she might figure something out, but she's your main. Like her and Rick are who you worried about. Like everybody else at that point, you can handle.
You know what? I'm gonna go a little different route here. Okay. I'm gonna go John Wick as well.
Okay.
Because I really think he's definitely the best choice here. Like
Yeah,
5 John Wicks is a really hard number to beat.
It is.
Considering just how much he's taken in these 3 movies.
Yeah. We are accurate to these characters.
We are, yeah. I mean, I don't take Tory Lanez, and I don't take Patrick Star.
See, but I needed numbers. That was my motivation.
I get your numbers, and I think Dolores wipes them out.
How so?
That woman can be shot as many times as you possibly want, and it doesn't matter.
I didn't think about that.
You gotta really fuck up Dolores to fuck up Dolores, and it is hard to fuck up Dolores.
It is.
I mean, especially if we're talking season 3 Dolores.
And you got 3 Doloreses. So you got 3
of them. I'm going John Wick and Dolores. That's 8 of them going against 10, 20, 30, 45, 65, 165, 265, 206. I've got 8 on 206, and I think we win. I take John Wick and Dolores.
See, but it's like if you make it 105 against 103.
And don't get me wrong.
I don't think Tory Lanez.
I don't think you have bad odds there, by any means. I think you've got a good shot there, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers certainly help you. But I think 3 Doloreses does the work of 100 Tory Lanez.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. So that's what it comes down to then. Dolores and Tory Lanez.
Dolores and Tory Lanez. I didn't see it coming.
John Wick is sealed in there. John Wick is for
It
sure.
went from Rick Sanchez being sealed in to John Wick is definitely the one you want.
Yeah.
And maybe you take Dolores and maybe you take Tory Lanez. This is the best segment we've ever done.
Oh man, I really didn't expect him to make it that far. It was totally a meme when we threw him in.
I remember the beginning of this segment. I dismissed it. I was like, I'm not taking Tory Lanez or Patrick Star. There's no way. But they are the two that it comes down to. And you know what's funny is after them, Mario and Luigi. Like, and you know, Rick's probably 4. I'll throw 4 on that.
Okay.
He's probably number 4, but Mario and Luigi are 5.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I really want to see Huey and Riley versus Mario and Luigi.
See, here's the thing. I haven't even been considering Huey's karate abilities.
Yeah.
That man's talented in the martial arts.
Huey, but you also got to think about Huey and Riley working together.
That's lethal. They rarely work together.
They rarely work together, but when they do,
they fuck shit up.
And when they're working against each other, you can tell they have expert, like genius level sort of intellect when it comes to these situations.
Absolutely.
They're two very militant individuals, and Huey understands the theory of the militancy, and Riley understands the practice of it.
Riley's about that action.
Yeah.
I watched the episode of the Boondocks last night that was Homies Over Hoes. Homies over hoes, homies over hoes, do the homie, do the homie.
Yeah, is that the one where it's like the pimp names? He was like, the pimp was like, he was like, I don't know.
I don't put nothing over a hoe. I put a lot of things over a hoe.
Was he like, unless you like walk down the street or something for me? Or like...
He said, I put money over a hoe, a good turkey sandwich.
Good turkey sandwich. Oh man.
Yeah. It was a funny ass episode, and Riley by the end of it thought he might be gay.
Yo, why is there's a lot of dialogue on being gay in the Boondocks that I didn't realize.
Yeah, there is a lot of it, and it's mainly driven by Riley.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And then half the time I'm like, oh, you know, he's all right, and the other half I'm like, well, okay,
it's like all right. This hasn't aged particularly well.
This hasn't aged particularly well. Yeah, exactly. So is that it?
I think so. I'm settling on John Wick and Dolores,
and then John Wick and Tory Lanez.
I didn't see it coming, but John Wick Dolores is mine. John Wick Tory Lanez is yours. I'm gonna make a little graphic. I'm gonna put it up on Twitter, and I want to see what other people might think.
Yes.
The 4 people who might want to weigh in.
Yeah. No, I think we've you gotta put like we should take like some mugshots or something and get like some serious like, you know, and then have like Team Colton, Team Tavar.
Fuck yeah. Alrighty. Well, on to the next segment, Comic Club. We are here to discuss Black Panther, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Fucking love that guy.
We haven't heard of Ta-Nehisi Coates get normalized to that name.
Dude, get familiar with it. That man's incredible. Just incredible. So, Black Panther. I've read a few Black Panther comics now. I've gotten into comic books a lot more this year than I ever have before. I've already read like a couple hundred of them.
Damn.
Yeah. But I've read some Black Panther, but my favorite Black Panther to read is Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh yeah.
He's got a few different options for Black Panther comic series that are phenomenal. I think he wrote a Killmonger one too. Mm-hmm. It's really fucking good. Strongly recommend that too. But what got you into reading this comic book?
I don't know. Just mostly the fact that Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote it.
Yeah.
It was just like a lot of what I feel like my education has been is realizing just like how interconnected so many different like unrelated things are, and so
seemingly unrelated.
And so like to hear of Ta-Nehisi Coates first through like Between the World and Me and The Atlantic, and then be like, oh, he also writes comic books. And I was like, nothing about this man's writing has ever been
comic booky,
or like, not to say that, not even to say comic booky, but just this like, comic books have this perception of just kind of being like arbitrary, like just,
and that's what I've learned through reading them is that like there are some really good comics that I don't like. It's they're talented writers.
Yeah.
Like Charles Soule is a really big one that comes to mind. He's written Astonishing X-Men, Obi-Wan and Anakin, The Rise of Kylo Ren. He's got a bunch of really great comics out there. Watchmen, it's a fucking phenomenal example. That's an incredible comic book that's definitely not written for kids. And that's becoming more normalized, is that in comic books is they're not so much for kids anymore. Because kids outgrew comic books. Now the adults that read comic books still want to read comic books.
But now it's allowing like these people who are writing comic books to actually like take on like serious
projects.
Serious projects and serious like meaning within the comic books. Because,
absolutely.
Like, people think that like sci-fi doesn't have potential for like critiquing like society as it exists, but it
can just blow it up to a galaxy-wide scale.
It really does. Like it's like there's a whole bunch of theory behind ways that science fiction depictions of the future, especially, are ways that we kind of like manifest our own destiny, and like we like start to like etch like we encode essentially what our biases are, what our beliefs are, and like we do all of that onto this idea of the future, which then gets actualized because we've then created that self-fulfilling prophecy of this is what we expect. And so just like those sort of imagination projects are just like really like especially interesting, and that's kind of why I think like the Black Panther comics especially stick out to me. It's because Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing it, and I know Ta-Nehisi Coates
cares about this shit.
That because the reason I think all of that
is because of Ta-Nehisi Coates. Yeah, and he's also written some Captain America ones. He's written a fair amount of comic books, and I've making my way through all of them because him and the guy I said earlier, Charles Soule, are my favorite comic book writers for sure. So, let's give some background knowledge on this comic book. I know if you're listening, hopefully you'll go read it, so you'll get a chance to learn this on your own. But says it right here in the back of the book, gives us a little social hierarchy. We got the Imperials, the highest caste of all Wakandans. The Imperials claim to be the blood descendants of the founders of the Empire, though that claim is hard to substantiate. The Miners, the Nameless, also that's one of their other names, ironically.
The what?
The Nameless.
Oh yeah. Makes sense.
Ironically, one of their names.
Not subtle.
Subjects of the Empire condemned to slavery in the vibranium mines. The Nameless have been mind-wiped. They know nothing of their original history. That's a very key component of the story. The Askari. The Askari are both the police force of the Empire and the arm of the Wakandan slave trade. As a caste, they are hated by the Nameless and denigrated by the Imperials. The Askari hail from many races, including many that were themselves conquered by the Empire. And then we've got the Rebels, also known as the Maroons. Though the Empire's powers are vast, there are those who fight back, much like the Rebellion in Star Wars.
Much like it.
They are the Maroons, comprised of freed Nameless and led by Captain Nyami of the starship Mackandal. Pretty clear-cut group of people here.
Yep, he's just kind of... It's interesting because he's building... It seems like he's building an alternate sort of Black Panther universe that hasn't been done. I don't think so.
I don't think it's ever been done. Yeah. He's just doing his whole own thing.
I was reading these and I'm like, wait, so like, what's this again? Like, where in the timeline? It's just
and that's how most comic books are. They're all set in their own little universe, and sometimes they do have continuation series written by different authors and stuff like that.
It's just I forget because I'm not typically accustomed to experiencing like the original comic stories. I'm just used to seeing adaptations of them. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh well, what's this comic based on? It's like no, all those other things are based on the comic.
Yeah. And then a little bit more background here. On the very first page, it says, 2,000 years ago, a detachment of Wakandans established by a small, desolate colony on the outer edges of the cosmos. Separated from their homeland and besieged by the whims of deep space, these Wakandans pushed their country's traditional notion of self-defense to radical ends. True self-defense meant the conquest of all potential foes. On this bellicose ethic, A small, starving colony was transformed into an empire spanning 5 galaxies. Now these spacefaring Wakandans have set their acquisitive eyes on new galaxy, our own. Uh-oh.
This is the Imperials that have are colonizing space?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the story of the only man who could stop them, a king who sought to be a hero who was reduced to a slave, who advanced into legend.
So like, if you think about that, like, what he's doing is he's saying that. So the traditional conception of what it means to be a hero is to be someone who basically supports the existing structure, right, or keeps it functioning. Already, like, it's just notable that the difference here is that the idea of what it means to be a hero is to also be antithetical to everything that a corrupt system represents. Absolutely. And so it comes first with the identification of, like, sort of like how that hierarchy works, not necessarily like he doesn't say that the Imperials are like these just like
tyrannical.
Yeah, like tyrannical. They're just not like these inherently bad people, right? Like, they aren't just people who are who are just pushed to evil by virtue of evil, right? Like, these are just people who are claiming ownership over things that cannot necessarily be proven, but necessarily taking that ownership to meaning that they can possess humans, traffic humans, and colonize the space, which is a whole galaxies. Yeah. And so, like, that's his hero's arc, right? Is to stop the colonization of space, which is
fucking awesome.
That's
the best. That's the best story I've ever heard.
Yeah,
that's what I want Black Panther 2 to be.
honestly.
I think it would adapt into a really good movie. But we open on a sleeping T'Challa. Well, as of right now, he doesn't know he's T'Challa. We know he's T'Challa. Yeah. And he's dreaming of a woman who has white hair. And given other comic history, often Ororo, also known as Storm, is the Queen of Wakanda, married to T'Challa. So he's having a nightmare of a memory, I think, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then immediately after, they establish a master-slave sort of relationship with the Askari, enforcing that the quote mules must do their work.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fucked up.
Very, very fucked up.
They push T'Challa to his breaking point, and he absolutely beats the shit out of a lot of them straight up at the beginning of this. Yeah. And he mounts his own little slave rebellion that is even reported to the Maroons later. And they're like, "How many people was it?" And it was just one guy.
Yeah, just one. Just we got fucked up. Sorry.
Our first mention of the Emperor by name is on page 13, N'Jadaka. And do you know who N'Jadaka is?
You said that was the Emperor?
Yep. That's Eric Killmonger.
Oh, okay.
The ruler of this empire is Eric Killmonger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
That's his Wakandan name.
Yeah, I didn't even connect that.
T'Challa, while he was breaking at, like, trying to get out of there, he didn't. He ultimately didn't. He failed. Yeah. He got taken down. He did.
He got mowed down.
But we are next taken aboard the Makandal, where we meet Ta-Nehisi Coates' renditions of M'Baku and Nakia. And if you remember from the movies, M'Baku is the Maha Hu Maha. We have watched from the mountains. I love that guy.
Yeah,
he's a great actor too.
He is.
This version of M'Baku I really like. I really like him. But Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o in the Black Panther movie as well. They are part of the Galaxy's Rebellion, the Maroons. We next see Dowd, the biggest and baddest of the slaves. He claims himself to be the king mule, which is a weird pride to have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what conditions of captivity do to you.
And How to Be an Anti-Racist addresses this very thing about hierarchies within your own
within your own
subjugation.
subjugation. Like you're just like, oh, well, we're all oppressed, but hey, you know,
at least I'm not them.
Yeah, you know who's the best of the oppressed? It's like, wait a second now.
Wait a minute. Yeah, and he he tries to push T'Challa, and T'Challa is not fucking with it. He gets him for a second, but then it doesn't go well for Dowd.
No.
King Mule Dowd.
It doesn't.
I like how he always refers to himself as Dowd as well.
It's probably just a lack of intelligence.
And when he's about to beat Dowd to death, T'Challa is, another wise old slave says, they have stolen your name, your culture, your God. Do not let them steal your mind. And I was like, that's a good ass quote. And it reminded me of something Huey Newton talks about in Revolutionary Suicide, about his time in solitary confinement, the way prison guards would come up to him and like egg him on and try to get him to lash out and try to get him angry, and he just wouldn't even look at them. He wouldn't even address them. And the only thing he said that kept him sane was not giving them what they wanted. He was like, I will not let you take my mind. You've already taken everything else from me.
And so now that you say it's weird that he would always, Dowd would always refer to himself as Dowd, that could be him portraying how they've like just sort of taken Dowd's mind, because Dowd doesn't see himself as himself. He sees himself as this
King
object.
Mule Dowd.
Yeah, he sees himself as this object external to himself to be used as such, and so it's like he.
Another thing I hadn't
views
thought
himself
of is
as
that
a
nobody
slave.
else has a name.
Really?
He gave himself that name. Remember, they're the nameless.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a.
He dubbed himself King Mule Dowd.
That's
Interesting choice of a name, Dowd.
Really interesting choice. Very interesting choice.
But after this, we see M'Baku and Nakia and the Maroons mount an attack to free the slaves on this planet, Gory, I believe is what it's called. T'Challa comes face to face with Captain Niami of the Maroons. He says he fights to get back home, but he cannot remember it or even remember his own name. He's fighting to get somewhere, and he doesn't even know where it is. He's like, I just know that this is not where I belong.
Yeah, right.
He's like, I feel something's there. I need to find it. And she tells him right there, you are T'Challa, and he joins to fight alongside the Maroons. That concludes issue 1. And it's cool because they gave us this prologue, or this prelude, because that's set 2 years before the second issue. Yeah, right. Which I thought was interesting. Yeah. That's another interesting story choice, is to make the first issue 2 years before the rest of it. Right. And it fares well, because at the start of the next issue, immediately T'Challa is a part of the Maroons. He's a high operative, and they respect him, they listen to him, and stuff like that. So it gives you a sense of he's established here now, and I like that. Yeah, no, that's a good good way of doing it. But I think I like how it kind of the theme of the first chapter is really kind of blatantly like how unnatural the situation itself is that he's in. Like, it's just like, this is like, obviously, like, this is the state of affairs right now, and nobody can really do anything about it. You can resist however much you can, but like at its core, it's just foundationally corrupt. Like, there's nothing right about this. Yeah. The second issue opens on a failed raid by the Maroons. As M'Baku and Nakia discuss course of action, T'Challa is remembering his past love, Ororo, also known as Storm. But just in those glimpses, you know. And what's interesting is I want to know how he's seeing his memories. Yeah. I wonder if they're like playing out completely, or if he's only getting like flashes, like he sees Storm for a second and then she's gone. Yeah. Ultimately, the Maroons get overpowered in this raid. Like I said, it's a failed raid attempt, and they decide to retreat. But T'Challa pushes forward, and I think it's because that image of Storm, he was like, man, fuck these guys. Yeah, right. Like, I remember this woman. I know I love her. I know I do, and now I don't even know who she is, and that's your fucking fault. Yeah, so I'm gonna beat that ass, and he beats that ass. That just made me think of another thing. A big point of Coates is like,
the reason that reparations is necessary is because you didn't just you didn't just move people into slavery, but you then sold those people away from their families, and you just totally ruined any possibility for generational
you completely
lineage.
took everything away from them.
Right.
Like there is nothing left
there
besides
are no
their
roots.
servitude. Like that's all you're giving them.
And so it's like he uses that as sort of fuel to defeat them, which is consistent with this idea that he's a hero who is against the colonization of space and the colonization of bodies and stuff like that. But that's I think that's probably was his motivation with those scenes, was to just kind of use that as a reason to contextualize why he's doing what he's doing.
And that's another really good thing about this comic book that you don't get a lot of in a lot of comic books is you see the action that heroes take in other comic books, but in this one, almost every single time you get a reason why.
Yeah.
Right before it.
Right.
Like every action that T'Challa takes seems like it's a direct reaction to something he was just that we saw him think.
Exactly.
And I like that. I like that a lot. It gives us a greater insight into Ta-Nehisi's version of T'Challa.
Yep.
And while T'Challa does some absolute work, he tells Nakia, "I am not the one who needs backup." And he absolutely...
that was...
And he goes to work.
He was just like, no.
And because he's the only fighter left, and their fighter jets called Zulus, which I like, and he takes on 15 of them.
Shit, they're called Zulus. That just connected. That's what... There's something there.
There's a reason why he called them Zulus.
Do you remember the part in Between the World and Me where he talks about what's his name of the Zulus? God damn it.
Yes.
He was like I was on my search for something of the Zulus, not realizing that there was only one whatever of the Zulus. But he was referencing a deeper African story, but I don't really remember. I don't know the details of it.
Yeah, I'd have to recontextualize that. I mean, he's just so damn. Everything has a meaning with him.
Everything has a meaning,
especially in his comic book writing.
Oh yeah,
because he is such a poetic writer, even without writing poetry. That he even talked about in that interview I was just telling you about at the beginning of the podcast that his drive when writing is to make the reader not just feel what he's talking about, but be in agony over it. Be like, holy shit, I cannot believe this. Someone else read this so I can talk about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
And everything, especially in a comic book, the way that you get that done is by making everything have a meaning. And he's too talented. He's too talented.
Too talented.
And while T'Challa did some absolute work, he ultimately did get shot down in his Zulu, and in his crash, he again dreams of Storm as M'Baku rescues him from the wreckage. And then when he wakes up, Nakia tells him, T'Challa, everyone needs backup. And I was like, okay, nice little callback there.
Yeah,
I dig it. We are then taken to Planet Bast, which is named after Mother Bast, the goddess of Wakanda, the Panther goddess of Wakanda. That is worshipped. The giant statue of the Panther in the movies, that's Mother Bast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I like that they have a throne world. And I know they have to have a throne world. It's just because it's the center of the galaxy. This is the planet. It reminds me of Coruscant from Star Wars. That's where it is housed. It's the core of the Empire. But Planet Bast. I like that name. Two servants of the Empire kneel before Emperor N'Jadaka and inform him of the extreme abilities possessed by one of the Maroons. They decide that it was T'Challa. They were always aware of T'Challa's existence, but they thought they had properly dealt with his memories, made him nameless, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But it turns out, dude's still a fucking badass.
Yeah.
This is a great quote from N'Jadaka in this. There will be no ferreting, only purging. And as for mercy, counselor, every breath you take is mercy from me. That's a line from the Black Panther movie that Black Panther says to Ulysses Claw.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, he's like, "Every breath you take is mercy for me." It's a great one. As he says this, it appears that he is joined with some sort of symbiote, like Venom. Did you get that vibe?
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking at this. Yeah, that has to be what it probably is.
And I've never seen that. Not with not in the Black Panther story.
No.
It's I really like it though. His character design is the coolest.
Badass. It's like it's like the evil version of Black Panther. Like you're thinking like, oh, if there's going to be a Wakanda that's not run by T'Challa, then this is what Killmonger would look like.
Absolutely. And man, he kills the fuck out of the dude who was responsible for taking care of T'Challa, because that weird symbiote thing is scary too.
Yeah.
Like straight up looking at, and that was my favorite panel of the comic too. It was just so fucking perfect. And on their raid to the place at the beginning, we figure out it was for the Imkron shard, and we haven't learned what that's supposed to do yet. Not until issue 3, where we get kind of an insight, but nothing that's concrete yet. And in issue 3, we open on a convo between Nakia and Niami about the legend of T'Challa. We see him face off with Claw, Mephisto, and Namor, along with an image of Storm in her X-Men gear, which I thought was cool to open up comic number 3. And T'Challa we learned that T'Challa translates to "he who put the knife where it belongs." And I was like, that is fucking pimp.
Yeah. No,
that is cool as fuck.
It's dope
and
as
I
fuck.
wonder, I don't know the history of Black Panther nearly well enough to know this, but I don't know if that's ever been said.
No.
I want to know if Ta-Nehisi Coates came up with T'Challa means the one who put the knife where it belonged.
Maybe, yeah.
I'll have to look into that more, because I really fucking like it.
Yeah,
and now watching Black Panther, every time someone says T'Challa, I'll just think he's the one who put the knife where it belonged.
Yeah, right.
Niami explains to Nakia how she believes that their T'Challa is the T'Challa of legend, despite T'Challa being the most common name in the galaxy, we learned.
Right.
I was like, huh.
Then you throw that, you're just like, huh. So it's just basically a bunch of T'Challa prototypes, and
yeah,
then
it's
just
basically John in
which
America.
one's gonna be the revolutionary who saves the world?
Yeah, it's basically the Muhammad of the galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, essentially.
The Luke.
Yeah, John. Fucking Jacob, I don't know.
Jacob.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, you know?
Yeah, I do know.
She only tells Nakia that she thinks their T'Challa is the T'Challa of legend because she doesn't want to give false hope if he is not the T'Challa to the Maroons. But if he is the T'Challa, she doesn't want N'Jadaka coming after him.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I dig her logic here. It's like, I got to tell someone I trust, no one else. After this, Nakia and T'Challa discuss the plan to get T'Challa's memories back. And this is where the Imkron shard is briefly mentioned, but we don't get a full explanation. The only thing we got is maybe they can help T'Challa get his memories back.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly how. We just know that potentially that's where this is headed. And but before they really get the chance to discuss, the Empire runs an ambush, and it's a massive ambush to the point where T'Challa's like, "Why the fuck are they sending all of this at us?"
Oh yeah. Right before that, though, I think my favorite panel.
Ooh, yeah, talk about it.
The part where he was like, "Do you understand what I'm saying? Your memories are knowledge, and the Empire doesn't destroy knowledge." And then
that was a fucking good one.
Like they plunder it.
They plunder it.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure he makes mention of plundering knowledge in between the world and me.
Plunder is the huge. That's like the number one concept that like Ta-Nehisi Coates put me onto. I was like, no, I just got to use that word all the time.
I have to say plunder.
But because like I'm just like, that's like the perfect word. Like I don't.
It's exact. There's not a lot of words that equate to it. You know, there's no exact synonym for plunder. It's not like there's something intense about it. It's like it's more than just taking away.
Right.
It's taking away, destroying, and erasing.
Exactly.
Like it's all those things. So it can't just be one other word. It is plundering.
Yeah. Right. It's just it just stood out to me because like you wouldn't see that word in a comic book much.
True. Yeah. And as M'Baku accepts that his fate here is dying, as the Empire is making their ambush, King Mule Dowd for the win comes in, blows some shit up, and he's like, "I protect King Mule Dowd, protect M'Baku." I appreciate that he's also kept the name King Mule Dowd.
Yeah.
Even though he is a part of the Maroons now,
Yeah,
his name
right.
is just King Mule Dowd.
Right.
The Empire cuts the power in the facility, and in the darkness, we first encounter Manifold. What the Manifold is, we are yet to learn, and I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah. Next. Wait. So are they just on 4 right now?
No, I've read this whole comic book series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's like 19 issues. I want to take it like 3 at a time.
Okay.
Kind of, and there's separate books too. So like the first 6 are like its own thing, and then there's a kind of continuation for the next 6. Maybe it's 18, not 19. I might be off
What,
there.
they move ahead in time after the first 6?
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
Not by much, but like a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the space and time between, I know I've referenced it several times throughout this podcast, but the space and time between Star Wars movies typically.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
okay.
so that
Yeah.
kind of the 2-year gap that he took at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
between the issue 1 and 2, that's kind of the vibe you get.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, but I really enjoy this comic book, and I'm looking forward to you reading more of it too, because I've already read it, and that's why I know it's fucking phenomenal, and that's why I knew I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see you.
It's pretty. Yeah, I
See all
I
these
definitely
things.
like it so far. It's.
Yeah, it eventually gets even like bigger. It's like there's more.
Mm-hmm.
There's more like Mother Bast becomes a very big part of the story, their religion and stuff. So that becomes a very big part to play. But I'm looking forward to talking about it week after week here.
Me too.
Shall be fun. You got anything to say for the sign off here?
Nah, be great.
It's a pleasure to be back.
It is.
Yeah, Penny Bloom returns.
We have made our long awaited, I'm sure, by so many of you.
Oh man,
You
all
know,
5 of you.
You're just
maybe.
wondering where our voices were. They're right here.
Hey,
They're
but
right here.
I checked it out this morning. We've been getting downloads
Really?
since our last episode was put out. Yeah, I mean not a ton, but
Mhm.
more than I would have expected for not having put an episode out in 4 months.
Wild. That's wild.
And especially June. We had a particularly good month in June,
Hey. Yeah.
and I was
Building
like,
some
okay.
traction.
I was like, all right, cool with that.
There you go.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. I am Colton Robertson. That's Tavares Pennington.
That's me.
That's you. Cutie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be back. Peace, love, and bloom. Praise John Wick, Keanu Reeves,
John Wick. And
John Wick and Dolores, or John Wick and Tory Lanez.
and Tory Lanez.
Think about it.